Welcome, yogis. This practice, we're going to be doing a very deep stretch. Some of it's going to be an active yin practice, and then some of it will be a restorative yin portion. We're really going to be focusing on the hips as well as the shoulders. We'll get some other body parts, of course, involved into this deep stretch. But those are the areas of the body that is going to be the biggest focus. So for props, a blanket is nice to have, a blanket or a beach towel. And then you can have blocks. It's not completely necessary, but it's also nice to have too. So we'll go ahead and get started. Right away, we're going to come into our seed pose. So for our seed pose, I am going to use this blanket. And I'm going to come around onto a kneeling position, placing the blanket right underneath my knees. I'm going to shift and adjust. And then take your time to come down into, it's also our child's pose, but in yin, it's also called a seed pose. So we're just taking our time to bow forward here, bringing the hands alongside towards the heels. Maybe just rock a little bit side to side. And if you feel any sensitivity beneath the knees, you can use that blanket there or grab another one so that you can have something for a little extra padding. So take your time to settle into the space. Allow the back to round. And just take several long, deep breaths. Letting go of your day thus far. Allowing the body and the mind to come into the space. One thing I do want to mention about in this practice today is it's going to all be non-weight bearing on the feet. So we're going to be staying very close to the earth. It's going to be extremely grounding. It's time to turn it inward. Slow it down and let go. We're here for a few more moments. Just noticing how this posture feels. I just kind of think of it as like a conch shell where we're coming within ourselves or spiraling in. And take 3 more long, deep breaths. Very slowly, we're going to start to bring those hands around towards the front, press into the palms, and rise all the way up to seated. Take your time, no rush. And then we'll come into this kneeling posture for just a moment to kind of get that flush of energy and that reset of energy here. Close the eyes down. And go ahead and take one hand beneath the other, join the thumbs together. Just let them rest gently into your lap. Open the heart, roll the shoulders back. Just take a few breaths here. And then gentle the eyes open, and we'll come around to our bottom now. Using that blanket to prop yourself up if you would like to, right underneath the hips so that you can get them a little bit higher. this will be our active portion of our stretch. So coming into that seated position, we're gonna draw the feet together into our butterfly position. So for this first butterfly, I'd really like you to have the feet further away from the body. So take a minute to kind of get those fleshy parts out of the way and take those feet, really pressing the soles of the feet together. And we're creating this nice big diamond shape here. Take the hands to the tops of the shins, just pump that chest forward for a moment. And then very slowly start to release down, taking a hold of the feet. And then bowing the chin down towards the chest. Long, deep breaths. So in our yin postures, we don't go right away into a very deep pose. We go at about a 60 to 70%, so that we can hang out here for a little bit of time and then allow gravity to help us melt down into it as we're there for longer. And as we use that breath to open up some of those tight spaces. Excuse me. So that's just a little reminder not to just go straight into a posture at the fullest depth. Slowing everything down. Tuck the chin in towards the chest a little bit more to start to round back up to seated. Take a moment to kind of feel that energy shift. Another thing about yin is we usually feel the effects of the practice after we come out of it than when we're actually in the pose itself. Now I'm just going to stay in the same Buddha Konasana, the same butterfly pose, but I'm going to bring the feet, snuggle them in closer towards the body. So you'll notice right away you should feel a little bit more sensation in the groin area and in the hips. If it's too much sensation, one of those things that is nice is you can use blankets, pillows, or those blocks underneath the thighs and the knees. And then we're just going to take the hands to the tops of the feet and slowly, slowly start to round all the way back down again. Let's see, do you feel a big difference here with the heels closer to the body? And yin can be really test of patience here. It could be a time where we start to think, all right, I'm good, I want to come out. And if it's just because of impatience, see if you can stay there for a little bit longer. If it's due to pain, then go ahead and come on out. But if it's because of excuses that are cropping up, see if you can work past those excuses. And instead, just stay with the breath and melt down a little bit more. One mantra I'd like to share with you that you can utilize throughout the entirety of the practice is a lot of times I think of the inhale being the word let and the exhale being the word go. So inhale thinking let, And then exhale, thinking go. Let go. We're here for about 3 more breaths. See what you can soften. See what you can let go. Tuck that chin in slightly more to very slowly round all the way back up to seated. Taking the hands on top of the thighs, just want to lean over to the right, shift forward to the center, and then over to the left. Really gentle Sufi grinds here. Just kind of releasing any tension that might be residing in the lower back. Take a few times in this direction. A few little circles. And the next time that we're upright, we're going to switch directions, coming around to the other side. And take your time to come all the way back up to seated. Take the legs out long for just a moment. Give them a little shake and shimmy out here. And then we'll start to get into the hips even more. Bending the knees, bringing them up towards the sky. Keep that right foot, actually keep that left foot, sorry, mirroring your left foot onto the earth. We're going to cross that right ankle over the top of the knee. So if this is too intense to be in the seated pigeon, we can come down on the back side. Take the hands behind the lower back so that the palms are facing towards the body. And then we're just going to do a little shifting side to side here. So you'll notice that the closer to the body, just like we had in our butterfly, the closer to the body, the more intensity we're going to get. If we walk that foot a little bit further away, it's not quite as intense. Either way can be intense because this is a way to get into that outer hip, into that performance area, and into the glutes. And so that area can be very tight. Just keep finding that little swaying back and forth a few times. And then come into some stillness in the center. The foot that is planted onto the earth, we're going to bring the toes up towards the sky and then very slowly lower them back down. Let's do that again. Bring the feet up towards the sky, the foot, and back down. Once more, up and then back down. Still staying with this leg crossed. Let's just see if we can come up a little bit taller. I'm going to interlace the hands and bring that shin in closer to the body. Taking the elbow to that inside of that left thigh, or that right thigh, excuse me. See if you can press that thigh open a little bit more. See if you can keep that nice tall spine and find the breath here. Take all tension out of the face, out of the hands that are holding on to the leg. And right away, we're getting into that hip area. And normally in our movement practices where we have the asanas, we're coming into these postures with a little bit of a warmer muscle. In our yin postures, we come in with a little bit of a colder muscle. And the reason why is because we're going to start to get into the fascia a little bit deeper here. Just a few more breaths. If you are on your back side into that pigeon, just find a few breaths there. Releasing the clasp of the hands on front of the shin. We're just going to slowly take the leg down, and we're going to find our fire log pose, or this is also called double pigeon. So we have ideally the knee stacked over the ankle on that top knee, and then the ankle stacked over the top of that bottom knee. If this is feeling like you have this great big gap here, use that blanket or use that block here in between. This can be really intense into those hips. So if it is too intense, go ahead and just keep one leg straight, and you can keep that foot crossed over the top here. So find what is working for you. And once again, bring those palms behind and pump that chest forward. Nice tall spine. Tuck that chin in slightly. A little bit of neck lock here. And a few breaths. Walking the hands forward, we're going to place them right in front of the legs, place the palms down, and stay tall here. So don't worry, this isn't one of our yin postures that we're going to stay in super long. It might feel like a little bit too long, depending on where your hips are, but just see if you can hang in there with me. If you're not having pain, if you're just having that sensation of the stretch, hold in there for a little bit longer. And if you need a little bit more sensation, if you're looking for more, walk the hands in front and fold down here into this forward fold. Wherever you're at, ground yourself with that breath. Pressing into the palms, rise slowly back up to seated. We're going to take a hold of that leg on top, and we're just going to cradle it here. So bringing the sole of the foot into the inside of that elbow, and then bracing it with that right hand. And that lower leg can stay bent, or you can straighten it out long. And then just find this little rocking movement forward and back. Might feel good to kind of come side to side, or maybe even just draw these little circles of dipping the knee down and up. Just releasing any tension here. So this is our yang portion after coming out of those yin poses. Taking a hold of the foot with the same hand. So that right hand is going to hold on to the knife edge of the foot or to that ankle. And we're just going to take it out to the side. So you can keep that knee bent. It kind of helps me give that little bit of leverage here. And then once again, you can just find some movement here. Some pressing forward and out towards the body, maybe crossing the body. Explore. And if it's not accessible to hold onto the foot, just hold onto the ankle. Keep that nice tall spine though. That's the only thing that we want to really be focusing on for our alignment. Anything else kind of goes here. And then when we're ready, go ahead and place that sole of the foot back down onto the earth. We're going to place both feet down, knees are facing up. Just take a notice here how that right hip feels compared to the left. And then we're just going to find a few windshield wiper movements, bringing that knee in towards center, or rotate to the other side. Getting a little different feel here of having that internal rotation of the hip instead of that external that we've been working into. Just a few more times. I tend to walk on this one. I tend to move across, so I'll have to readjust myself in a moment. And then go ahead and come back. I'm moving back onto my blanket if you've moved at all. We're going to find that figure 4 stretch on that opposite side. Again, if this is too much, you can come down onto the earth into that lying down pigeon. But for now, if you're here, cross that foot across the right ankle or the right knee, left ankle on top. Palms come behind so we can press ourselves up nice and tall. And like I've said a few times in this, you don't have to be stagnant. You can find this little bit of a sway side to side. Just do what feels good intuitively for you. Now taking that back up to center, flex those toes so they come towards the face and then back down. Again, towards the face, back down. One more time, flex the foot towards the face, then back down. Releasing the hands from behind, go ahead and draw them through and snuggle the shape in towards the body even more. Instead of collapsing back, go ahead and keep that spine and that chest nice and tall. Use that elbow to press into that left thigh and think about guiding that left knee down a little bit more. Top foot is flexed. Breath is fluid. If it's taking your breath away, just back up a little bit or take the hands off the top of the shins. Here for just a few more moments. Noticing how this side differs from the other. Maybe a little in one direction or a lot in one direction, or maybe not at all. Maybe we're feeling good in both hips today. Releasing the clasps of the hands around that shin. Go ahead and take that foot down. Now this top knee is coming right above the ankle, and we're going to find that nice flexed foot on both feet. If there's too much of a gap or a space here, use that prop, that blocker blanket, or it could be that this one on the bottom is coming up too high. Shift and adjust those props as needed, and then shift and adjust that body as needed. Both feet are pressed up nice and strong and tall. I guess feet aren't tall, but I guess think about them pressing into the earth, or imagine as if they're pressing into walls next to us. Hands come behind, and once again, we find that pump of the chest up. Take all the tension out of the face. All the tension out of the body. Start to walk the hands forward, and we'll bring them down onto the earth right alongside the knees or right in front. Again, you can stay tall here. A lot is going on in this lower half of the body. And if this is where you'd like to stay, stay right there. Or if you want even more, just test it out. Roll on down. Bringing that heart down, that chest down towards the lower half of the body. Notice what thoughts are coming up here. See if you can keep the hips sinking down, the shoulders away from the ears, and the breath fluid. Very slowly unwind and come back up. We're going to take a hold of that foot again, bringing the foot into the crease of that elbow and holding on to it with the same arm near the knee here, And just find a little rocking of the baby. So rocking that leg baby forward and back. Maybe little circles. Giving some love and attention to a part of the body that really deserves it. Something you can say after this video, you can say, I rocked my leg today. I rocked my leg, baby. All right, I'm gonna fold the knee. You can keep it out straight if you would like to on that bottom knee. Taking a hold of the knife edge of the foot, we're going to extend that leg out long. If it does not come out all the way long, that's fine. Just keep the bend in it. And just do a little bit more exploration here. Straightening and bending, or rolling around. And if you're thinking, I am not this flexible, that's okay. Just meet the body where it is today. Just here for just a few more moments of play. And then when we're ready, go ahead and plant that foot back down onto the earth. Knees are shining up towards the sky, and a few of those windshield wipers side to side. All right, we're gonna work a little bit more into our shoulders now. And a little hips too, but we'll give the hips a little bit of a break here. We're going to actually do a double duty by coming into our child's pose, but we're going to add an arm, thread the needle so that we can get into the shoulders. So bring the big toes to touch, knees nice and wide. Hands come down onto the earth. And then I'm going to take that left arm up towards the sky. Find this nice open twist here for just a moment. Then threading the hand through, bringing it pretty close to the tops of the knees. As I shift my hips back, I'm going to bring that left ear down to the earth. And keep that arm snuggled right underneath. Might shift and adjust a few times in the hips. And find that space where you can be for several breaths. So a couple things that we can do with that right arm. We can keep it extended, really pressing towards the top of the mat. Or you can bring it up and behind, finding a little bind by bringing it over towards that left hip. Might even feel good just to rest the hand gently right alongside the face. So find the variation that's working for you with that right arm. Find the breath work. Imagine as we are in this child's pose variation, think about as we take that inhale, as if we're taking that inhale from the base of the spine, and it's coming all the way up and through to the crown of the head. And then maybe hold it at the top for just a moment. And then as we exhale, that breath travels back down through the crown of the head all the way to the base of the spine. So inhale, we're drawing in light and breath from the base of the spine, through middle of the back, through the shoulders, through the head. And on the exhale, it travels down from the head, shoulders, top back, mid back, base. Just a few more on your own time.
Wherever you have that right hand, let's go ahead and bring it alongside the face. Press into that palm just slowly. We want to move out of these things just as slow, these postures, just as slow as we got into them. Very slowly rotate back up. Draw that hand up towards the sky. Find a little bit of movement there. Get that blood flow back in the shoulder and the arm. And then place that hand back down onto the earth. Coming into our tabletop position, let's just find a few rounds of cat-cow before we go to that other shoulder. So in that tabletop position, just moving through the spine, taking your time, finding this little back bend in cow, and rounding the shoulders up into our cat. And I said that backwards. Our cat would be our back bend and our cow. Oh gosh, I am just all over the place. Our cow would be our back bend and our cat would be that pressing into the earth and rounding into the upper back. All right, so we're going to come to that other side again, bringing those knees out to the side. And if you'd like to use that blanket under the knees, if you're feeling sensitivity, it's a great option. Keeping that left hand down onto the earth, right hand raises up skyward. Twist open here. Then float the hand through and under, thread the needle, bringing that right ear down to the earth. Slowly start to draw the hand down towards the tops of the knees, and then shift and adjust those hips so that they're really seated, that pelvis is really seated down into this child's pose. So find that option that's working for you. It may not be the same as the other side. You can take that left hand over the head towards the top of the mat. Or it might feel good to have bind, bringing it behind. So we're going to open the shoulder a little bit more by pressing open. Or we might even just want to rest it gently right here by the face. So find the variation that works for you on this side. And find the breath again. Quiet the mind. Relax that hand that's on the earth. No need to tense up here. Here for just a few more breaths. Return back to that mantra, work with the breath, thinking let in the inhale, and go on the exhale. What can you let go of? What can you release? If you have bind with the hand, slowly release it back down. If the hand is extended, go ahead and release it and bring it alongside the face. Use that palm to support the body as you slow press back up, bringing that hand skyward. Roll out the wrist, wiggle out the fingers. Do any movement to bring yourself back. Lower the hand back down on the earth. Snuggle the knees right underneath the hips. And a few rounds of cat-cow again. Just noticing that tension hopefully is just melting away from the shoulders. So you're feeling a little more stretched in an area of the body. And we tend to hold a lot of tension. Just a few more rounds. Go ahead and sink those hips back towards the heels. Come into Vardasana for just a moment. Sitting on this kneeling position. If this isn't comfortable to bring the hips down, you can always come into child's pose or stay up tall. We're not here for very long. We're just allowing that repressurize, just allowing that energy to kind of float down into the body. Flutter the eyes open. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my blanket once again. I'm going to create just a little roll here. I'm not rolling it up too deep, just enough. I'm going to do a little double duty. We're going to come down to our bellies, but I'm creating this to put underneath. So it'll be right along the belly button side, just like right along underneath the rib cage. And this is really good for digestion. So I'm going to use this as I come down for our Sphinx posture. We might need to kind of adjust it and shift it so it's going to be just right along the navel. So I feel it nicely above the hips right here, along that navel line. When you come down, I want you to widen the legs so they're about as wide as your yoga mat. Shift and adjust those hips a few times, and then place the elbows right underneath the shoulders. We're going to keep pressing those shoulders down towards the heels. No kinking in that lower back. So we're not tightening the glutes at all. Just getting this nice gentle back bend here. And then as far as the neck goes, I'm not going to toss the head back. I want to act as if I have something between, like a peach between my chin and my chest here. So I'm going to keep it pinned in there. That gaze can be forward, or you can close the eyes and turn inward. And keep pressing those shoulders down towards the heels, towards those hips. Broadening the collarbone. So this is an active stretch because we are working to really start to strengthen the shoulders. You might feel a little shake here. That's totally normal. No clenching in the lower half of the body. Maybe take a moment to shake it out and make sure you're not holding any tension there. No tension in the neck. Feel the rise and the fall of the belly against that prop or against the mat. And holding this for a little bit longer, we're going to stay exactly where we are with our elbows down, our forearms down, but we're just going to dip the chin down into the chest. So I want to keep those shoulders still pressing back towards the heels, but I'm just letting the head be very heavy here. Letting it just hang and dangle. So actively keep pressing those shoulders down and away. And then no tension in the neck. And very slowly start to tilt the chin over towards that right side, peeking up over that right shoulder. And release the chin back down towards center. And just as slowly, taking a peek, a little half moon or half moon circles, looking over that left shoulder. And then release back down to center. One more time on each side. Take your time. Peeking over. Releasing to center. And then peeking to that other side. Releasing down to center. Go ahead and release those hands down. Create a little pillow here and bring the forehead down onto the tops of those hands. Might feel good to shimmy the hips out a few times. And then when you settle in, this is our crocodile pose. So take a few long, deep breaths. And if that feels uncomfortable to have the prop underneath the belly, you can go ahead and remove that out of the way. Very slowly raise back up. We're just going to shift that prop out of the way. So I'm going to take that blanket and move it out. I'm gonna move it out actually underneath. I'm gonna start with that left side this time. So we're gonna come into our tipsy frog. Our tipsy frog, I'm actually going to take that right knee out to the side and just bring it on top of that blanket. So a couple options. We're gonna keep that foot stacked right underneath the knee. And if that feels too intense to have that external rotation of the hip, then you can go ahead and just bring the foot in as if we're like in a reclined tree posture here. So we can bring that foot in to the inside of that extended leg. So one option, and the option that I'm gonna go with right now, is that tipsy frog, where I'm keeping my ankle right below the knee and the knee out to the side. And then I'm going to come back down again, just bringing my forehead back down to the backs of the hands. So if that again is feeling like too much to have that knee out to the side that far, go ahead and just bring the sole of the foot into the inside of the groin area. And so when we get this external rotation of the hip, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to bring that groin and that hip down towards the mat. So it's just a little micro movement. We're going to be here for a little while because this is an area of the body that needs a lot of focus and needs some time for that gravity to really work here. So find that comfortable space that you can be in, or that space you can be comfortable in. And notice if you're holding tension anywhere that you can release. Let's just do a little breath work while we're here. So first, let's take a nice deep inhale in, and then exhale out. Now a little meditation with our breath. We're going to inhale for a 4 count. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, dogs. Hold at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Continue on your own, finding your natural breath, or continue with that 4 count. Just here for a few more moments. So you can keep both of those hip bones pressing down into the earth. Those front of those hip bones pressing down. And we're going to start slowly bringing the head back up from behind, from the back of the hands. Ooh, a little zinned out there. Start to draw that leg back in. And then just find a little movement, a little shifting side to side, some adjustment here. So we're just going to do another shoulder stretch before we go into that other side. One thing that I like to do is I like to bring that blanket up to the top so that I can rest my forehead onto it. You can do that with a blanket or do that with a block. We're going to cross, so I'm taking these arms out into this T, taking that right arm over the top of the left arm, crossing right here. This is part of our twisted ropes here. I'm just going to adjust my blanket a little bit so I have a little bit more cushioning for the head. So arms are coming across. We're really trying to press those hands into those opposite sides of the mat. And if you're feeling claustrophobic at all, then just maybe, or you're feeling too much strain in the shoulders, just take it out a little bit. So looking for that opposition of really reaching the hands into that opposite sides of the mat. Finding that breath. Make sure to take all tension out of the lower half of the body. You can always return to that mantra of let go. Or you can return to that 4 count breath again. With that breathing in for 4, holding for 4, and releasing for 4. Just here for a few more moments. Go ahead and rock over a little bit to that left side so we can release that right arm. Let's bring the arms above the head. Keep the forehead down. You must feel this good stretch above the head. And then maybe bring them alongside the hips. And just notice how we're feeling here. Now let's go ahead and do that Tootsie Frog on the other side. Or that fallen tree. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to take that blanket, I'm going to bring it around to the opposite leg, taking the knee out to the side, and then I'm going to create a little pillow for my forehead to come down here. Foot is right underneath that knee, and it's staying flexed. And I'm keeping those hip bones, thinking about those fronts of the hips, just pressing down onto the earth. And if that's not okay, you can just bring that foot into the inside of that thigh as if we're in a reclined tree pose. It's very common to have one side feel a little bit different than the other, or a lot bit different. Just keep thinking about that external rotation. So it's not a big pressing, but we're just kind of thinking about bringing that left hip down towards the mat. No clenching or pinching in the lower back. Finding the breath that suits you here. Just here for a few more moments. Very slowly start to straighten that leg back out long. Do a little shift in the hips a few times, side to side. And then we're going to twist our ropes on that other side. So taking now that left hand over the top, snuggling the right hand underneath. You can use that blanket under the forehead if it reaches there, or a block might feel nice as well. And then keep reaching the hands to that opposite side of the mat. Make sure that there's no tension in the neck. Really keep reaching the palms to those opposite sides. Pressing the pubic bone down to the earth and breathing deep. Three more moments, three more breaths. Roll slightly over towards that right side so we can release that left hand, taking the hands out front, really reach them overhead. And then bring them down. Just noticing and feeling the effects of that stretch in the shoulders here. Come up onto those hands for just a moment. We're just gonna flip our burger, flip our pancake, and come over to our back side. So coming onto our back side. We're gonna do a little twist here now to reset spine, and twists are always a nice way to end our yin practices, or just to end our days and our practices at all anyways. So bring the knees in towards the chest, give them a little snuggle and a squeeze here. Extending that left foot all the way down to the base of the mat. Snuggle that right knee in towards the heart for just another moment. Holding onto that right knee with the right hand, bring it over to the outside. So I'm bringing that knee out to the outside of that shoulder. Getting another stretch into the inner thigh and into that groin area. Capturing the knee with that opposite hand, I'm going to draw that knee across the body, bring it across that extended leg, and then down towards the earth. If you want to make this a passive stretch, you can use that blanket or that block underneath that knee. And you can allow to come up onto the hip here too. That hand that's holding onto the leg though, do not use it to keep pulling the knee down. We're gonna let gravity do that work. And then to complete the twist, let's take that right hand up and into a Y shape or cactus shape, just where we can get that shoulder down onto the earth. So we really want this twist in the mid-back. Also feeling it in the lower spine with that mid-back. It's so nice to get a good twist in there, an area of the body that we don't twist as much. And when we have that arm out into that Y shape, you should feel a good stretch again into that armpit chest area and into the shoulders we were working in. And find the gaze that's working for you, whether you're looking over that extended arm, up towards the sky. And take that breath all the way down to the belly area. Twists are such a great way to detoxify the body. Giving our internal organs a little squeeze here. Go ahead and bring the head back around to neutral. Taking that arm first down and slowly rotate so that we can center the legs back onto the mat, center the hips back onto the mat, and draw the knees into the chest to reset spine. Find that rocking movement or those circles. And then we're going to repeat that on the other side. So now taking that right leg down towards the base of the mat, snuggle left knee into the heart. Taking left knee into left hand, bring it over towards that left rib cage area, knee towards the armpit chest area here. Crossing the body with the right hand, capture the leg, and then we're just going to guide it across over to the right side of the mat. You can take that prop if you would like to place it underneath the knee. Just take a moment to right yourself or to get yourself into this perfect positioning onto your mat. And then test it out. With that left hand, you can bring it up into that Y shape or that T shape or cactus shape. Ideally keeping that shoulder down so we get the full twist and we really get into that shoulder area as well. Breath does feel a little restricted here because we are in a twist. But let's see if we can send that breath down to the belly. Returning to that mantra of let go. See if you can go just a little bit deeper. When I say deeper, not necessarily deeper into the twist or deeper into the posture, but maybe deeper within. Even though we're holding that outer body, our gross body, still see if we can feel into our subtle body. Go ahead and release that hand down so that you can support yourself as you unwind and come back. Draw knees in towards the chest just one more time. Give them a hug and squeeze. If it feels okay with the neck, bring the forehead towards the knees. And hold here for just a moment. Releasing the head down, releasing the legs down. Find that Shavasana for yourself, whether legs are extended. But just take this time, staying as long as you possibly can to really soak in the nourishment of your practice and to feel the full effects of it on your body. Again, I encourage you to stay here as long as you would like, as long as you have allotted. I will leave you with blessings and gratitude. Thank you for joining me, and namaste.